Una y dos. Y dos. Una y dos. Una y dos.
Hello and welcome to Cortesnyc Livestream, the podcast.
This show broadcasts out of New York City.
We are your hosts, Cortesnyc,
And Cada de Puerto Rico.
and on this show we talk about art, creativity, city life from a Latino perspective. I'm a visual artist.
And I'm a singer.
And this is episode 86.
As always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and Spotify, and on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
And everybody, don't forget my online store, cortesnyc.bigcartel.com. On there, you can find all my art merchandise. You can find posters, graffiti pins, graffiti stickers, even original art. So if you're into what I'm doing and you like to support artists, go on there, cortesnyc.bigcartel.com. And special shout out to all the people who enjoyed the Inktober this month. I'm glad I got to do it, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. All right, let's get going. Inktober, Carla.
Inktober, what eventful October, especially for you.
Yeah, Inktober. I'm over Inktober. How about that? I'm over it. I'm over Inktober. Man, doing a drawing every day is a mission, even for professionals.
Yeah.
That's why I'm even impressed when I see that there's amateur artists out there doing it, because it's a challenge. It's a real challenge. So, I mean, for you guys who don't know what Inktober is a play on the word October and a play on the word inking. I don't know where it started. I actually should have looked up where it started from. But Inktober is every year. I've been doing it since about maybe 2014, 2015. And it's basically every year on the month of October. It's an excuse for people to draw every day for the month of October. And what they do is I don't know if it always started this way, but now there is official posts that give you a prompt for every day of the month. They give you a word, and you use that word towards your inking or whatever you're drawing. Now, I mean, I don't know if it always was like that, because the way I was introduced to Inktober was just like, it's a challenge. You're gonna draw every day. Almost like that's the only aspect of the challenge is
you
draw every day for the month of October. Now it's officially like the thing with the prompts and working with the themes, which is actually really cool.
Yeah.
But then there was one year that I realized that, like, I think it was not this year, but maybe like 2 years ago, where I realized like those prompts are they don't really last, because they give you sometimes some words that you would never draw.
Yeah.
Ideas that you would never make. And you start doing random things, and then you end up just drawing random shit that doesn't even mean anything to you.
Yeah.
So it kind of defeats the point of it being your art.
And every drawing is kind of like whatever you
Scattered.
think.
Exactly.
There's not a storyline.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of like started pulling away from doing it, aside from the fact that I have a life and I have a schedule, and it's really difficult to draw every single day. You know, all these years I've been doing it as in taking advantage of the Inktober thing to maybe push myself to do more artwork. So I used to do it in my black books. I would sit down and like say, well, I haven't really hit the black books in a while. Why not use this Inktober to like motivate myself to like put more art into my black books? Then one year I remember I was busy. I had just started a new job, and I was like, maybe I can just tone it down a bit and turn my Inktober into like little Post-its. Because I noticed that people were doing anything. It didn't have to be Inktober doesn't have to be a full-blown illustration. It can just be a little doodle every day. So I was like, hey, maybe this year I'll work with little Post-its, and I'll just try to do mini Inktobers, you know, little tiny drawings every
And you can use the medium you want in terms of the type of ink.
Exactly.
Or the style of ink, because like this year, we'll get into that later.
Exactly, but you can use any medium. And Inktober is even stretched a little bit, where some people do Inktober and they do full color inks.
Right.
Right.
But it's, yeah.
But it's still Inktober.
It's ink.
I mean, technically, Inktober, I'm sure, started at some point by comic book artists. Like, I don't think this was like all kinds of graphic artists and everything were doing. I think it was like probably comic book artists to push themselves to ink because they're already inking every day.
Right.
And that's where I think it was really that kind of challenge of just like, can you do it every day? Because comic book artists are beasts when it comes to turning out artwork.
Yeah. And also doing concept with a specific idea.
Correct. Yeah,
because
exactly.
they can just develop a storyline. How's it called? The storybook?
Right.
Where they...
The script, yeah, like the story, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So and then also I took advantage of one of the Inktober's years back when we used to do the live stream the way we're doing it right now. For you guys listening, we're actually recording this and streaming it live on Instagram. But we used to do this every night for years, for like 3 or 4 years. We did it a couple of years back. And during that time period, I remember I started, because I was drawing anyway every night, I was like, well, let me just do Inktober's. Well. Yeah. Throw my Inktober's in that mix. So yeah, I took advantage of all those things. So fast forward to this year, my son, Mr. Ark, he brought it to my attention that it was Inktober. I had totally not even paid attention. And he brought it to my attention. He said, for school, they were doing a project and the teacher suggested maybe doing Inktober. Like, it wasn't mandatory, but they kind of, I guess it was a teacher's way of motivating the kids to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I got like flashbacks of all the negative. I got a flashback of all the hard work. And I was like, oh man, that sounds like a lot of work. But at the same time, I just have gotten into the iPads recently, working on Procreate, and I kind of saw a little bit of a thing there, like, well, maybe I could use this Inktober to motivate me to explore the Procreate and get more comfortable with Procreate. Yeah. And lo and behold, I did. My son showed me how to export the replay of your drawing. I didn't know that the iPad, the Procreate specifically, that Procreate saves your whole drawing step by step automatically. I thought that you had to like set it up and pre-program it to do it and blah 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 and all this shit. Yo, that shit saved it. I was like, really? I went back to all my old drawings and I saw all my old drawings just playing out before my eyes. I was like, oh shit, this is kind of dope. I was like, I'm feeling this. This is dope.
But you also said it was scary.
It was a little scary because it kind of shows all your steps in your train of thought. If you're doing it unconsciously, it'll show you drawing something and then going backwards and undoing it and then drawing something else. So it's a little scary in that sense that it shows you all your mistakes and bring you back to kind of forward and rewind. Yeah. But in this case, I was like, now I'm thinking ahead and I'm saying I'm going to draw and design the drawing so that it's pleasing to look at the steps by steps. Like in the replay, it'll look good. And I was like, yo, I could do this. I was like, this is a good Inktober. Maybe for my Inktober, this will be a good reason to do an Inktober. I'll use the iPad. I'll use Procreate. I keep saying iPad. I guess this isn't Procreate. I'll use Procreate. I'll post my process, and that'll be my Inktober post, and it'll be exciting, and it'll be fun to watch the steps and all that. And I mean, like we said, inking, the Inktober doesn't have to be specifically inking with a brush or a technical pencil. It's really just any inking, and right now digital ink is where it's at. So I was like, let me just do a digital ink and just do the process. So yeah, I took that challenge, and I gotta tell you, I was gonna talk about the Inktober before doing it, but if I learned anything over these years, is don't talk about Inktober before you finish it. Exactly. Talk about it after you're done.
Make sure that you're done. Some people are still in day 11, day 12. I saw
some posts today, yeah. I saw some people still posting, day 17, catching up. I'm like, good luck. It's going to be Christmas, so you're going to still be Inktober. Right. No, but yeah, I realized, a couple years back, don't do that because you're going to destroy yourself. You're going to ruin it.
And then if you talk about it beforehand, you're going to be setting up some expectations for yourself. Yeah. Be like, I'm going to do all the days, blah, blah, blah. What if something happened, you cannot complete it? Yeah. Better talk about the process afterwards.
Exactly. And so that's why we're doing it now. I just finished the last one today. What is it? November what? November 2nd or 3rd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just finished. But to be fair, I started late.
Yeah, you did.
To be fair, I started late.
You started like 5 days later or more.
Exactly.
So you were
actually ahead.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was actually doing 2 and 3 at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I finished the final one today, posted it. You guys check it out when you get a chance. Check it out on Cortez NYC Livestream on Instagram, or check it out on Cortez NYC on Instagram. I've been posting it on both accounts. But yeah, I mean, you know, I can say, man, it was a lot of work. Seeing all the 31 drawings today, we did a little recap. Actually, Carla, you posted it.
Yes, so if you go to our live stream and go to our highlights under the profile bio, you can see the Inktober recap. So I posted every Inktober post and then kind of like a theme song with it. And you can go over it and see all of them in order. It's really fun. Yeah,
so I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm amazed.
Yeah.
You know, I'm seeing all the different themes, and I'm like, damn, like I took a whole freaking journey here.
Yeah.
Let me talk about that. Let me talk about how I built this. So the medium was resolved. I was gonna use the iPad. I was gonna use Procreate to do the digital inking. That was resolved, and I knew already that I was gonna export them and always post the video, the process of it. What I wasn't sure of is how I wanted to tackle the themes. So the minute that I saw the prompts, you know, I have the prompts here. Here's my little iPad. Okay, so I was looking at the prompts and I was like, kind of, because this is already like at least my 5th time doing this, and I was like, all right, ring, mindless, bait, freeze, build, husky. I was like, what do I do with all these words, right? And then what I started thinking of is, can I tie them together? And that's when my brain started working a little bit. I was like, well, maybe if I start telling a story, it'll help me with the prompts, and it'll help me like to illustrate a lot faster. So I'm not for every word stopping and saying, what the fuck do I do for this? You know, what do I invent for this? And so I started with the idea of, well, ring. And I was like, well, originally I was thinking like a boxing ring. Then I was thinking like Lord of the Rings. And I was like, if I start doing random shit, it's gonna be a mess. But when I thought ring, and I said, fuck, 4-finger ring. And I thought of Radio Raheem. And I was like, that kind of popped it open in my head. I was like, boom. And I was like, fuck. And then I looked ahead, and like later on it says freeze, it says build. And I was like, fuck, I could work with that. Like, and bait. And I was like, I could tell a story. I could tell like an urban story. Instead of just being random words, I was like, maybe I start with ring. I put a kid on the street with a 4-finger ring, just like Radio Raheem from Do the Right Thing. And then I was like, maybe if I can make my way through the words, I can show different scenes in this like urban universe, this urban environment. And I was trying to picture like that the images that I portray could be everyday images that we're all familiar with. I didn't want to portray fantasy images. I've done that in the past. I was like, let me just stick to like, if it was a movie or a, you know, like a flip book of photos, could I do that? And because I'm doing it on the Procreate program, I was like, I'm gonna be tracing photographs anyway.
Yeah.
So I might as well try to find photos that are, and elements that are like real world. And that way, at least it's different than all the other Inktobers that I've done in the past.
Yep.
So immediately I was like, ring, okay, 4-finger ring, right over him. Mindless, I was like, let me just kind of find some images of like some mindless thugs, like people on the street. And I came across an image from the movie Spring Breakers, where the guy was like this crazy, it was like based in Miami, it was this crazy freaking drug dealer and like kind of a pimp drug dealer guy with these like 2 white girls, bikini white girls. And I was like, all right, that's cool for mindless. They're like just airheaded, you know, characters. And then bait, I was like, let me just do the whole thing about like getting baited, like the cops trying to entrap people. So I was like, let me find an image of like a cops, like a SWAT team and like an undercover and like a dude buying drugs off of him on a street corner. And then freeze, obviously I was like just cops after a shooting or something, and they're like pulling out their guns. And I started building from that, and I started telling more of a story. And I could even go ahead, and I was like looking way ahead. I was like, when I saw snow, I was like, snow has to be cocaine. Yeah. I was like, snow is cocaine. I was like, normally snow would have been like Mr. You know, like Mr. Freeze or Frosty the Snowman or something. I was like, no, snow is cocaine in this urban world. And that's when I started kind of putting together all this like, by using that universe and picturing the whole environment, I can use these words to kind of find how to tell that story and keep me going for the 31 days. That was a challenge for me, and I think it really worked this time around. Because I would have been stressing. Yeah. I would have been like, after the 5th one, I would have been stressing the hell out. I was already stressing, but I would have been more stressed out. All right, so my process. Let me talk about the process. First and foremost, get the prompt and then find reference. So this is my advice to you guys. Anybody out there wants to do this, they want to use Procreate and they want to do this digital inking technique, whatever I showed on my Instagram, I would say your first thing is gather good reference. Find images that really tell the story. If I were to show you guys all the photos I went through, you guys would be surprised.
He was using 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I was going through my phone on my ride into work or out or on my lunch break, and I was just flicking through my phone trying to find perfect photos. You know, if I found a cop with a gun out and I wanted that freeze pose, I didn't just pick the first one. I wanted to make sure it was at the right angle, that I could fit that guy with the background, with the other elements. So everything I had to kind of find the images and just know that I'm gonna sample this from this, and piece it together to make the final piece. And know that even if it's not a perfect photo, it's gotta be perfect for what I need it for, because I'm gonna end up inking it anyway and changing some details to adjust it to what I want. But finding the perfect photo is the first thing. Combining images, knowing that they fit together, second thing. A technical tip on Procreate, the brushes, know your brushes and stick to, let's say, 3 brushes. Don't get crazy. Don't start, getting all like techniques and fancy. Not for an Inktober. For an Inktober, have 3, 4 maximum go-to brushes. Have them set, have your palette set, and know, okay, I'm gonna use this line work for the steady lines. I'm gonna use this brush for the wobbly lines, for the thick to thin lines, heavy brush strokes. I'm gonna use this one for my stipple, and that's it.
And that's it.
Stick to
You're
that.
done.
Yeah, don't get complicated or you're gonna get stuck. Another tip that I would say is in the brushes, there's 2 different kinds of brushes. There's an inking and a calligraphy set of brushes in Procreate. And I think the best brushes, definitely for me, were the inking brushes. And then in the calligraphy section, the monoline. I think it's called monoline. That brush is like, it's almost like using a rapidograph, if anybody's familiar with rapidographs. It's a very steady line. It can go very thin and it's very steady, so it gives you a consistent line. That way, if you want to do something technical, like a piece of architecture or something that you want it to be very steady lines, you can use that tool for that. But I mean, you guys feel free to find whatever tools you like. I just think as long as you stick to a limited amount of brushes, you're gonna produce more.
Because you don't have that much time to do it.
Exactly.
And you don't want to spend your whole day in this Inktober, because remember, you have 31 days to go.
Exactly.
So yeah, the most specific and like the tools you have, the easiest is gonna be.
And then the other thing I would say is, I would say, see where you can find shortcuts in your drawing. Like if you're gonna fill in an area and the whole area is black, and in Procreate you can outline a shape and then paint bucket the shape to fill it in solid black. Take advantage of those things. Get all those solid black shapes out of the way first. Make sure that you're inking, you're doing your thing, you're doing your outlines, but then don't start filling in with little tiny hatch marks and everything up front. First, just do your outlines and then fill in all your solid shapes, outline them nice and clean, close your shape, and then fill it with the paint bucket. That way you can get all your big solid areas out of the way. That's gonna make your inking go a lot faster, specifically in Procreate. It's gonna make your inking go a lot faster. All right, and then the last thing I would say about this Inktober was I did my inking, I exported the file, the process, the video. And then I was looking, I was like, I could put music to this. Yeah. I make music. Yeah. I could put music to this. And that was the final step. I was like, how do I put music to this? What do I do? And the little iPad it comes with iMovie. And I was like, what? Imported the video that from Procreate, put that video in iMovie, and then I could just take my music, drop it in, and then I could chop, edit it down. And the videos, sometimes I was exporting videos that sometimes were like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, depending on the drawing, how much line work. It goes longer if you do a lot of line work. Some of the drawings were like 30 not even a minute, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. But the average was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes for the amount of detailed lines that I was doing. So I would take it into iMovie, chop it up, eliminate the things that weren't necessary, and bring it always down to a minute so that I could post it on Instagram easily. And that was a piece of cake, man. Then from iMovie, you export it, put it on your phone, boom,
That's
upload
how you
it.
got the movies.
And
then
I got them. So
you have to have the volume up because you need to listen to the music too.
So even though my Inktober, I just finished it, I just want the extra credit that I did the inking and also gave you guys
he got like 1,000
video.
points.
Yeah.
If there was a score, you know, usually it's until 100. No, it's like 1,000.
I want the extra credit, okay? I did the inking and I gave you guys video and music. I was making music at the same time. I was inking, making the video, and then quickly making some beats to put in with the video. All right.
It was crazy.
Yes. All right.
It was
and
crazy.
Still doing my day job and still
doing a bunch of
taking
other
care
stuff.
of life. Yeah. Inktober is a lot, man. It's a lot of work. But I like I said, I can talk about it.
You enjoyed it, though.
I enjoyed it. I could talk about it now because it's over and because I completed it. And I can definitely say it was worth it. I feel energized, let's say. I feel like my art is energized. Definitely, I made a whole freaking album of music from it. After all that,
which actually you can find on SoundCloud.
Exactly.
The album is called Unlocked, and it's under Cortesnyc. And you're gonna find how many tracks? How many?
15 or something.
15.
But I'm not. Yeah.
Music tracks. They're instrumentals.
They're all instrumental, but it's the instrumentals that I used.
These are definitely inspired by Inktober.
Yes.
And you definitely have to find them because they're awesome.
Yeah. All right, and then I guess lastly, just wrapping up this art talk, I'll say, the reactions were awesome. Big shout out to all the people on Instagram that, you know, reacted, commented, kept encouraging me along the way, especially during the halfway point, somewhere around the 15, 16, where I took a little break and got back on it. You know, it's really encouraging to see the feedback, you know, when you're doing that, because it's kind of like people, you know, cheering you on to get it done. And it's not so much like to say, hey, you're doing a great art, but more to say like, great effort, keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Inktober is about. And hopefully, you know, some of you artists out there that are listening to this, realize that it's not, Inktober is not so much about how beautiful the pieces are, or if you went all out and did videos and all this shit. It's just about drawing every day and maybe making people out there aware of how hard it is to draw every day. Because I think if you never paid attention to Inktober and suddenly you see somebody drawing every day and posting every day, and you see everybody doing the same thing, drawing different things every day, you realize, what about the rest of the year?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, where are these artists the rest of the year? Like, you realize how hard it is to do that, to orchestrate.
And these are like light sketches, you know?
Exactly.
So imagine, and that takes time. Imagine how long it takes for a full painting, for a full black book, a full piece of graffiti with colors, markers, a character, everything to get done. So yeah, it's definitely very inspiring.
Hey, yo, and so some quick shout outs over here. We got Phantom Menace, we got Max Milano Velar, we got Melisol, and Carla de Puerto Rico in the house on the live stream here on Instagram. So like I said, we're going to try to do this more often. We're going to try to record and stream it on Instagram so that we'll announce it ahead of time, give you guys an opportunity to get into the chat. If you want to shout out, just get into the chat, give me a little wave, and I'll give you guys a quick shout out. And for you guys listening on the podcast, hey, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, Cortesnyc Livestream, and definitely be posted. Keep it posted, you know. And we are gonna let you know if we go live or not. And when we're gonna be going live.
Exactly. All right. Shout out also to Cute Demetrio. That's such a funny name. It always throws me off. Cute Demetrio. Carla, would you ever try an Inktober?
Well, yeah, I will definitely try it. But you know how my drawings are. It's like little houses with flowers and a little palitos thing. I can do that.
I guarantee you that if you were to give it a shot, even if with little stick figures, you could do a complete Inktober and it'd be cute.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to do it for sure.
But you have to be, the whole thing about it is you have to be vigilant.
On top of it, yeah. I'll do it.
Do it in your little notebook, in the little corner of your notebook.
Post it every day.
All right.
Pero si me estás haciendo todo igual, no tiene ningún color el paso que hace. Sepárame los tiempos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2.
All right, culture talk.
All right, culture talk. So
Carla, today we have a special episode of Culture Talk. Go ahead, hit me with the topic.
Let's see if you guys recognize this.
Bendiciones para todos y que Dios me los bendiga a todos, hoy, mañana y siempre, y que reciban de mí siempre paz, mucha paz, pero sobre todo mucho, 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 mucho amor.
You guys recognize that?
That is Walter Mercado.
That is Walter Mercado. So today we were going to record the podcast and we find out about the sad news that he passed away today and with 87 years old.
He was 87 years old.
Yeah.
That's a good life.
That is a good life.
I don't mind passing at 87.
Long life. I mean, we have talked about it. We have spoke about it.
You want me to live into 100?
And you should live into 100.
Exactly. No.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. No.
Whatever
God.
life and God.
Whatever God has in store for us. But yeah, if you guys are not familiar with who Walter Mercado is, Carla's going to school you guys on Walter Mercado.
I'm going to give you a little backstory.
All the backstory.
Walter Mercado. So starting with the Walter Mercado, he is still is a very important figure in the Latino community. And it's incredible that it doesn't matter what part of Latin America, if you're in the United States, in Puerto Rico, you will know about Walter Mercado and the way that he, I'm going to explain who he is because you don't know yet.
All right, go.
So Walter Mercado started as an actor, dancer, and choreographer in Puerto Rico. He's from Puerto Rico, was born in Ponce. And he started dancing and acting, and he acted in some Puerto Rican novelas and movies, and that's how he got his fame. And one day he was in a TV show, and somebody was supposed to do the Zodiac astrology section for the show, and that person was not in that day. So they told him, hey, do you want to come by and do you want to do it? He was like, yeah, of course, I'll do it. And when he first did it, he was wearing kind of like a cape because that was the character of this other person that was doing the astrology section on the show. So from there on, he kept going every day. And then that's how Walter Mercado, the astrologist, started. Reading and listening to some interviews, he does say that he always had that psychic power since he was a little kid. He said in one interview that he was in school and he told the teacher that the school bell that was there, was going to fall. And the next day, something happened and the bell actually fell. So everybody was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is true. So yeah, he had some psychic powers.
Listen, not for nothing, but we were talking about it earlier, and I wanted to know. I have a few questions to ask you about him, but I wanted to know more about him because the impression that I got growing up was that he was the crazy Spanish guy on TV. He seemed like an evangelist, like some sort of he seemed like a priest.
Yeah.
But he was doing horoscopes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he gave off this like illusion of like a magician, a priest, a witch doctor. I don't know what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But people swore by him, and people really listened to him like they would listen to a priest, like with faith.
Yeah, and that was another thing that he created, kind of this idea that what he said is true, and it was kind of like almost like a cult that people would really look and read his zodiac. I don't know,
predictions.
That's the word. Predictions, things, and that they will believe they were true and they will live by it. He will also do kind of like recipes for like the new year. This is what you need to do to receive the new year. This is what you need to do to have luck. This is what you need to do to be wealthy. And then people will actually go and do it. And even buy. Supposedly I read also that he will sell the ingredients that you need to create these recipes. It's all a business.
It was crazy.
All a business.
Hey, so just quick shout out. Scratch NYC is in the chat. Mr. Ark is in the chat. What's up, guys?
What's up?
All right.
So
Tell me more about Mr. Mercado.
So I'll tell you more. So another thing that you were just talking about, if it was something more religious, he always considered himself someone to be spiritual. And I read also that it was a combination between Christianity, Buddhism, and even kind of like Hindi.
His spirituality?
Yeah.
Really?
Because on another interview I saw, he was explaining that he believes in reincarnation and that he respects the biblical God, but that he does believe that God is love and that there's a heaven and hell, but the heaven and hell, you create your heaven and your hell just by depending on how you want to live.
I mean, all right, so I guess I'm just guessing, and I'm gonna interject and then pull back out again, but I'm just guessing that he was tackling horoscopes as this spiritual religious thing because it's in the Latin culture, and we are superstitious. Yeah, we're superstitious and we believe in anything like that. So like we're like, all right, if they're talking to us about freaking some sort of thing that God said or that was written somewhere, then we believe it, and we're like, all right, yeah. So maybe he realized that and was like, the way to catch him, the way to hook the audience is to tie it into this like mysticism that is religious based, so it doesn't feel so hokey like horoscopes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But something that you were saying that for you he seemed almost like a priest. I think it was because of his mannerisms. He will always do things that will remind you of church, like when you go to church and you practicing it yourself, or when he would do the love, a lot of love. Yeah, he would do a gesture. This is almost like a Divino Niño pose. Like, when you see the Divino Niño, he has a little hand and then his hand in his heart. So I haven't really, honestly, I never really paid attention to him. Like, he was always on in the background. This is for abuelitas and for tias and primas to watch. That was never for me to really pay attention to. But I do remember those things that he would do, these gestures that would make you think religious symbolism. Yeah. Like he would create religious symbolism and tie it with his horoscopes. And then also, he's very known because, as I read on another article, they were saying that he's one of the first non-conformist gender TV personality in the Latino culture. And what does that mean? That you can look at him and he might look like a woman and his voice will remind you of a woman. But then you look at him a little bit closely and he's a man. But then he will use his large capes, very full of color and colorful, a lot of jewelry with big necklaces and big bracelets. Like a woman, like a female. The hair will always be white, but it was almost like a blowout. So it will give you this thing of he's a man, but his name is Walter Mercado, but he's acting. He was the first like a female. He was the first Latinx. He was the first Latinx. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I remember seeing his image on TV and really wondering if it was a guy or a girl. I couldn't tell if it was a woman or a man. And I would be like, well, it's a man. But I would always think, and back then I was a kid, and I wouldn't go as far as to be like, well, he must be gay. But like, I wasn't thinking like that. No. But I was like, no, there's something weird about this guy. This guy's not a regular guy. There's something odd. Yeah, he never said that he was gay. And even in his most recent interview with this guy, Ramos, he said that people want to know, what am I? Am I homosexual, heterosexual, this and that? But he said, you know what? At the end of the day, I don't care. They shouldn't care because I'm a human. Right. And that's what matters. And people love me and they accept me as who I am. So why do I need to explain who I am? I think he managed to dodge the whole freaking LGBT and all that movement. He managed to just evade it. And go around it. Maybe it was just before him. He was before all that movement. Yeah, and that's exactly what Jorge Ramos said. He said, oh, but now, the generation now that are LGBT, they will be very out there and say, this is who I am. Exactly. And you need to listen to me and this is who I want to be known as. I feel like if he was coming up in this time, he wouldn't be able to hide that information.
Yeah.
People would either drag him out of pressure.
Yeah.
But he would feel the pressure of having to just identify or specifically non-identify and say I'm non-whatever, binary whatever. I feel like he would have to be speaking on it more.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say that they would drag him out of the closet. I'm trying to say that they would push the topics
put the pressure
more
on him
to speak on it.
You need to be kind of like a representative of this.
I could see
and
that.
Because you are on that space, you should be able to say who you are, what you are.
Because you have a platform.
And because you have a platform, yeah.
Yeah, and he was speaking to thousands or millions. I'm sure he was speaking to millions of people.
Yeah, when he first started was locally in Puerto Rico, but then as, time changes, he went into different channels and networks. And when he went to Tele 11, which was then later Univision, that's when he finally made kind of like a crossover, because I remember I saw him also on Despierta América, if I'm correct. So that's when he finally got that crossover and he could reach Latinos in the United States. And then besides having his show on the TV, he will write the horoscopes for newspapers in Puerto Rico and newspapers in Miami.
Exactly, and I'm sure he wrote a ton of books.
Yeah,
I'm sure he wrote a ton of books.
Like 7 books. Yeah.
But yeah, that was another point that I was gonna make. We were talking earlier. I was like, so how do you give horoscopes credibility? You put it with the news, right? So you tie it into the news. So after the news hour, he comes in, or in between the news,
because in his latest years, he will be in Primer Impacto.
Exactly.
Primer Impacto, where news are Latino news that are
sensationalized news.
It's very sensational, Primer Impacto, because they will do like the most horrific or special news, and that's what they will report. So as part of the news, there was Walter Mercado saying the horoscope.
But yeah, so you give the horoscopes credibility, tying it to the news.
To the news, yeah.
And also in newspapers. Back in the day when we had newspapers, I don't know if we even have newspapers anymore, but back in the day, you would have the newspapers and you would have the horoscope section. Of course, you're giving it credibility by tying it into that.
Yeah.
And Walter Mercado milked it. He ran with it.
He had a whole business, and he knew that he could make it just by staying controversial, because he was who he was, but then at the same time, like a loving, accepting person. Because something that I read a lot was that he was kind of like the originator of self-care and like being aware of yourself in order to be better for others.
Like self-help.
And self-help,
yeah.
Which is interesting to hear that, because I wouldn't think of Walter Mercado tied to self-help.
Yeah, I mean...
okay.
I kind of do, because a lot of the self-help gurus or self-help authors are people that also are into like that kind of mysticism and kind of like that new age spirituality.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to sound like I'm knocking him, because I'm not. I actually think that that the Latin community had affection towards him.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad that he's passed, because I'm sure that he was a very nice guy. I'm sure he was a very kind person.
Yeah.
I've never heard any controversy from him.
No, and I was looking through it, and there's no controversies coming with his name on it. So that's actually...
either he was really, really well about keeping controversies in the closet, or quiet, or undercover.
Or he was actually not doing any controversial stuff.
Yeah, or he was actually a good person. And I think for the most part that we're going to miss a good person on the planet, because right now our politicians are not afraid to just let it all hang out, right?
Exactly. So rest in peace, Walter Mercado. Thank you for the much, much love you have given us through all these years. It was a long career that he had. And I actually read that there's a museum type of thing open in Miami. So if you guys are in Miami and want to learn more about Walter Mercado, go to that exhibition. I heard it's really good.
What's the museum?
I believe it's 50 years of Love and Love. Or Love and Love 50 years, something like that. But it was recently open. So it's sad that he passed, but I guess it was kind of like everything happens for a reason. and on the same on a great time frame, because now people can go and actually dedicate their time to, see.
Oh yeah, and CMRS on the chat says,
Charlotte.
correcto, su personalidad cautivaba a todos.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Walter, you'll be missed.
Well,
and I wonder who's going to pick up his
Descansa en paz
image.
con mucho, mucho, mucho amor.
You were practicing that ending, huh?
You wanted me to teach.
All right, so guys, we're going to go right into this Hablando Español.
Let's do the Hablando Español.
Hablando Español. Carla, what do you got for me?
We all need to learn Spanish and English, and it is important, and let's do it.
All right, what Spanish word do you got for me?
Okay, so let me see. How do you say ink?
Ink.
Yeah.
Ink in Spanish is, I think it's tinta.
Yes, it's tinta.
Tinta. All right.
Tinta.
Tinta is ink. So it's Inktober is Inktober. Tinta.
No.
Tintaktober.
Ahora vamos a ver cómo se dice.
Tinture. Tinture in Spanish. Next year I'm going to do tinture instead.
Oh my God. Okay. How do you say October? It's so stupid. I don't understand.
October is Octubre.
Octubre, that's right.
Very good. Very good, Christian.
Great job.
Great
How
job.
do you say every day?
Every day. Every day. Every day. Oh, wait, I got it.
He got it.
Every day is diario.
What?
Diario.
Every day.
Every day is diario.
Oh my God. You screamed too loud. Okay.
I got you on that one.
No, it's not, but it's okay. It can be diario or it can be cada día.
I was going to say todos los días.
O todos los días.
Okay.
O cada día. Every
right.
day. Cada día.
Cada día. Every day.
Every day. O todos
or
los
diario.
días.
Diario if you want.
Oh, diario, whatever.
If you
but,
wanna-
okay. How do you say pattern?
Pattern. Pattern is Patrón.
Yes.
I got this, Carla. Can you give me some advanced?
How do you say
Yes.
ghost?
Ghost. Ooh, there's multiple ones.
Oh, there's multiple ones. Okay. I didn't know that. But go.
Ghost can be Fantasma. It can be Fantasma or...
What's the multiple ones? Because I'm waiting.
Isn't there like a span?
What?
Spanto? Something
No,
like that.
that's something different.
Yeah, there's Fantasma. Because
Yeah.
Fantasma is phantasm, but that's not.
Ghost es fantasma.
I thought there was like more than one.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Me rindo.
So how do you say also snow?
Snow.
Yeah.
Nieve.
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 That's right. How do you say astrology?
Astrology. Oh, that's a stumper.
That's right.
Astrology. Astrology.
Yes. Think about the word astrology in English.
I'm trying to... Give me a second.
And then
Okay.
think about the Spanish version of that word.
Astrología.
Yeah, you're such a liar.
No, I haven't said that
You're
word in
such
a million
liar.
years. Carla,
Astrología. Astrology
I
is
had to
astrología.
literally... I hope you guys in the podcast can imagine me walking into my brain,
Such a
going
liar.
up... have you guys ever seen Harry Potter? You ever seen those libraries that they have in the Harry Potter world?
Uh-huh.
I go into my brain. I go up the stairs, up the book, into the ladder, up into the bookshelf, and look for the word astrology. Find it.
Wow, my God.
Do the dictionary translation. Come back and then take a guess at how to pronounce it. But I do have the word. It's in my head. It takes me a minute.
Okay.
That's the trouble with being bilingual.
Thank you so much for explaining how this works. Astrología.
Astrología.
You said it correctly.
Astrology.
Okay, so how do you say zodiac in Spanish?
Zodiac.
Yeah. Zodiac.
Zodiaco.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
El Zodiaco. Uh-huh.
Zodiaco.
So I know it's
Is-
like
am
a
I-
It's like a nasty word.
No,
in
Zodiaco
Spanish.
Zodiaco sounds like a spice. Échale un poco más de Zodiaco. Le faltó Zodiaco. No, Zodiaco sounds like a weird, como un sancocho or something. No, but Zodiaco, am I saying it with the right accent?
Zodiaco. I think so.
Is it
Zodiaco?
Is it Zodiaco?
I think the accent is actually on the first O. Zodiaco.
Okay.
I think so.
Thank you, Carla.
So the last one I have is religious. How do you say religious in Spanish?
Religious is religioso.
Yeah, that's right. So you got 100% on this test.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. I try my best. Now let's test you.
Okay, you have only like 3 minutes.
How do you say horoscope?
Horóscopo.
I like that. I like
Horóscopo.
That. Very good Spanish, Carla. Good job. How do you say? How do you say prediction?
Predicción.
Predicción? Mm-hmm. You sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure.
You want to call a lifeline? You sure? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
Predicción, okay.
Predicción.
All right.
Because we are on the live stream, Charlotte, if you can chime in. Predicción is prediction, right? Sí.
She said sí.
Okay, sí.
She's your lifeline. See?
She's my lifeline.
That's the thing about this Hablando Español. We're going to have lifelines now in the chat. Okay. How do you say, last one, how do you say, how would you say con mucho amor?
With lust of love.
What?
You said it in Spanish. You said con mucho amor. So
but what?
With lust of love.
With
lots of
lust? With lust of love?
With lots of love.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Lots of love.
Lots of
Not
love.
Not lust of love.
No lust of love. That would be too much love. With lots of love.
All right, so
okay,
we got through another episode. Look at that. Woo! We finished it. All right. Another episode in the bag. Thank you guys for joining in on the chat. Thank you guys for listening on the podcast. All you guys around the world listening to this podcast, thank you guys. And we will be coming back with another one real soon. You guys on Instagram, keep watching. We'll be putting more live
and check out our highlights that says Inktober 2019, so you can actually see all the Inktovers for the 31st day with a theme song.